Welcome to Court Captain's Volleyball Podcast.
Where we talk all things Pro Volleyball Federation.
I'm Kelly.
I'm Nikki.
I'm Ian.
And today we're talking week 12 of the PVF and a surprise player interview in season.
Nice. First one ever.
First one ever. We will be chatting with Orlando Valkyries player Courtney Schwan about this past week. She had one match against Indy. So we're going to hear from her, hear her background, talk about the match, and then we'll keep going and do in-depth match analysis from this past week.
So you get a bonus video podcast of the Court Captains.
Video pod. All right, cool.
All right. And here's Courtney.
Well, thank you, Courtney, for joining us. Just starting off, like how's the season going? How are you feeling? I know it's in the middle of the season towards the end, so I can imagine it's getting a little tiring for everyone. But how's the season been going?
The season's been going very well, actually. I think the coolest part is our team has clicked very well chemistry-wise, which has been super fun, and we like each other off the court too. So we've done a couple things like Galentine's all together as a team and had really fun time together. In terms of volleyball, it's fun and exciting because every week we're going in and we're still getting better at stuff. Like, we're one of the top teams in the league. But like every single day at practice, every single person's working on something different, and then we're working on stuff as a team to add components or get better at components that we know that we're lacking in. So
yeah. It's been really fun to watch. We try to be, as neutral of a podcast as possible, as neutral of a media voice, if you will. But I do give myself away because I'm a pretty big Valks fan, and I had to wear it for this one. I just like ever since, and to be fair, I've said like this was a present. I didn't buy this, but my boyfriend knows that I'm rooting for the Valks.
How many other teams do you have? What is it called? Merch from?
Yeah, we've got Grand Rapids merch because we went to that game and there was a giveaway.
Oh,
yeah,
I forgot about that. Merch.
So we I guess we can be bought.
And we have generic T-shirts that just have every.
We do
that. Every team on them.
We bought that.
You do?
We bought the league OG. We were thinking maybe it would be one of those like hockey original six situations someday. Crossing the fingers.
Yeah.
But
sure.
I haven't even seen that. I want one of those. That sounds awesome.
Wow.
Okay, cool. So we want to hear a little bit about your experience in pro so far in your career. And so you played, I think it's 6 years of pro abroad before you came over to the PVF. How did you, and then you played at Washington. So how was that transition? What was that transition like? Was playing pro always the goal? When did you first realize that like that could be a possibility and was something you wanted to do?
Okay, well, I love to start with this story just about me getting into volleyball because I didn't really have a choice in it because my mom played with me until she was 8 months pregnant. And then she was playing and coach. I think I was like 3 or 4 days old, and I was back in the volleyball gym, like where she was coaching. Like, I have memories of me, like in the gym, shagging at that age, and all of those things. But in terms of like college and that kind of thing, I always knew that I wanted to play pro. There was really no other choice for me because it was all I wanted to do. The jump from college to pro was pretty crazy for me, though, because I was a hometown girly when I went to college, because I'm from about 35, 40 minutes south of the university. So I would go home on the weekends or like for holidays, like the Thanksgiving, if it was possible, if we weren't on the road and that kind of thing. So the jump from going from that all the way to Italy was my first year was crazy because that's when I finally actually left home, whereas a lot of people do it in their college age. And I'm very close with my family. I think that first year was really tough, especially because I couldn't go home for Christmas that year. And I had spent every single year of my life at my home for Christmas with like my extended family comes to my house for Christmas. So that really hit me hard. And just the language barrier and all of those things. So that hit me really hard, but I've come to really, really love the European lifestyle, and I think I'll eventually end up living either full time over there or half and half here and there. So,
That's amazing.
yeah.
Yeah.
You definitely, so you played in Italy for 4 of those years. Can you tell our listeners a bit about what it was like to play in Italy in those like in the A series, and how it works and how did your game get better when you were over there as well?
How my game got better, especially when I was in the A2 series. So they have A1, A2. I think women might have A3, but A3 got taken away in the men's, but it's different and it changes every few years. But I was in the A series, and when you're in A2, you only get the first year I was there was only one foreigner, and the second year I was there it's two foreigners. But basically, they pay you to rely on you. And so my game changed a lot because in college we had a very, very spread out team where it was spread offense, like everybody was a really good player. So when they're relying on me, I was getting like every single ball. So and then the other teams knew that you're getting every single ball. So then you have to learn how to score because you have two blockers on you all the time, or they've read all of your shots and they've watched a bunch of film on you, so they know what they need to do to defend you. So you have to find new ways to score. And for me, I found a little bit of a rhythm because the more I was getting set, the easier it was for me to get comfortable and in the confidence of knowing that they were going to set me most of the balls. It was like, okay, here we go. So it was a different mentality, and I think that got me better in my game.
So that's why your roll shot is so sick.
Yeah, that's a question that was on our list, actually.
That's so funny. I learned how to roll shot. So growing up, I think I started playing adult fours tournaments indoor when I was about, I think I played my first one when I was like 11 or 12 years old. And it was co-ed, just adult tournaments. And the guys would do it over my block all the time, and it pissed me off so much that I was like, all right, I got to learn it, because like it was scoring all of the time, and I was like, if they can do it, I can do it. So I learned that shot at a very, very early age, and it's been, I want to say like a signature shot, but it's so funny because I know that all of the teams watch film on it. There's no way that they don't. And I'm like, and it still scores. In every league that I've been in, it still scores. And I don't know, like, I'm not going to give away how you should defend it because I'm surprised people don't have people just sitting there for it.
Yeah, but then you'll just go to 4.
Right.
And then they're
or
screwed.
swing down the line.
Yeah.
I
so what are you going to do?
Down that you're like, it's the stealth specifically that I feel like you're like attack, like the pulling back and maybe you could do anything to tip or off speed is the thing that's like, you really hide it extremely well. I want to ask like a mental question about that. Like, is it important that you are making that decision to fake it when you're in the air, or is it something that you're like planning ahead of time?
Oh, it's definitely an in the air thing unless it's worked. So like the first time is usually in the air thing, like if the set is off or I took my feet wrong and the set was maybe good, but I played on my feet and I was just in the wrong spot, so the ball hits on my wrong shoulder, it's behind me or something. I will do it just like as an automatic thing because I know that it gets the other team out of system and that kind of thing. Because even if it doesn't score, we usually get a good ball back, which is nice.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, if it scores, I'm like, oh yeah, game on. And then I'm like, okay, it's opened up. And then I wait to see if they shift their defense. And if they shift their defense, like last night, for example, they picked up a couple of them. And then Kelly was saying, the 4-4, they started shifting in. So then I hit one over there. And I was like, you can't do that either.
See?
Yep. Amazing. So good. I'm interested in, you joined the Valkyries toward the end of the season last year, right? I think I looked back because I couldn't remember exactly. It was like early May, late April when China Joseph went over to the Canadian national team. So you had a really quick experience with the Valkyries, that like 1 month, a little bit less, right? And so what made you want to come back for a full year too?
funny thing about that, I was actually just visiting home. I was over in Europe. I had finished my season in Italy, and then I went over to Spain to play a little beach volleyball. And I was like, okay, now I'm going to take a break after my season and go home for like 10 days. I was home not even 2 days, and then I was on a flight to go to Florida because Blake, I was friends with Blake prior, and I didn't know a lot about this league, but I was like, I'm super interested. And so I got a call from him. They booked me a flight. I was like, let's do this. It was also kind of like I don't want to say interview because that's not the right word, pre-experience to see if like it was a good fit for me for the following year. So that's pretty much what got me. And then the people were good. The situation's good. I've had pretty great situations overseas, but comparing that to like the apartments that they give you here, or having a laundry machine in your apartment here, or knowing which grocery store to go when you need something specific, just like those things of being home.
Yeah.
You can't really compare those.
Especially after being
So,
away for so
yeah.
long, I'm sure.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so maybe we'll talk about the game against Indy now, a little bit more specific. This week it was your third meeting this season, split in the first two matches. So I'm curious about that match, how you feel like it went. Obviously, heartbreaking, heartbreaking fifth set, a five-setter in general. I really thought it could have gone. There were points during that match where it really felt like it could go either way, but a lot of momentum shifting. So how do you feel like you played? How do you feel like the team played? What are your just reactions from it?
Like you said, it's pretty heartbreaking. I do think that we started a pretty new lineup, and we were doing dub subs that we've never done before. And not that we have never done before, but with a new setter that we've never done it with before, because we did it with Hannah Pukis before. It's just kind of almost like a whole new lineup for us. I did feel throughout the entire match like we had great energy, and I felt connected to the team, and I actually thought that we fought very, very well. I'm very proud of the way that we played. There was really no huge let-ups. There were some little let-ups for sure. I think that's what ended up losing us the match, of course. But for a first night with a new lineup, I'm pretty confident in the way that we played that we can build off of that. Am I happy that we lost? Absolutely not. Are there things I'm so ready to get in the gym and work on? Heck yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially with new, I mean, a new setter is a big deal. That was something the announcers were talking a lot about, right? Is that like, she just got here this week, and it is a position where I think in comparing to a new player that was on the other side of the net in Katie Baird, I feel like it's very different for an outside to come in and make an impact with a new team compared to a setter. We talk a lot about like the setter connection. I think sometimes it gets a little overplayed, but I do feel like it's real. And I think that it can take some time. So how was that a factor? I mean, you mentioned that a new setter in the mix, but then Katie Baird coming in on the other side and you not having as much experience playing against her. How did that impact how you were thinking about the match?
Well, for the point of your setter, I completely agree with you. I think they're the quarterbacks of our team, and I do think Mel has the potential to be a really, really great player, and I'm super excited for her. I think she was a bit nervous coming in, and you could see it in her play a little bit. But I think we got the jitters out, hopefully, and now we're good to go. I think that happens for everybody, though, so it's normal. And then in terms of Katie Baird, we were just trying to communicate the whole match. We were like, this is where she's been hitting most of the balls. We were not we, but our coaches and our team and our staff were shot charting. So we were just communicating about as much as we could. We had mentioned maybe we were going to pull some swings from her season in, I think it was Turkey, if I'm correct. And so we were going to see if we were going to watch some film on her. And then I think we ended up I don't know what the reason was. If we didn't expect her to play, or we weren't super, super worried about it if she did. The new players come into this league all the time, and we just got to roll with it anyways. And at this level, too, if you're taking away one shot, most players can find another shot to hit. So,
Yeah. Especially at this time in the season, there's been a lot of transactions. I feel like some of the teams are like brand new. So,
Yeah, totally.
exciting times.
One question I had regarding the momentum. We see this in some games, but I thought that your match this week, there was a lot more of this that I noticed, of like consecutive challenges,
Mm,
or a break, a point, a timeout, right? So like a lot of these instances where you're getting into a groove and then you're pulled on a break, right? I know that in the third set, it happened when you were serving. And we know that challenges can be leveraged as like mini timeouts, and sometimes that's the goal of them. But how do you work through that when you're serving, when you're on the court, and that momentum stoppage? And then as a follow-up question, one of those challenges, it was Sydney Hilly's hair in the net. Do you believe that hair should be allowed to touch the net? Is my follow-up
Okay,
question.
so yeah, that's a loaded question.
Oh, I know.
Okay, so
Hey, what's your opinion on that, Nikki?
Oh, I think it should be. They're not real cells. They're dead cells. Let it
Okay.
hit the net.
All right.
that's fair. So for me, what I focus on, I literally, if you see me, I was talking to some of the girls on the bench, and I was like, all I need to do is put this ball in the court now.
Yeah.
It was like, so that was my first goal. And my coach came over to me, Amy, and she was like, okay, so after you get this ace, and I was like, Amy, slow down.
Whoa,
We're
whoa,
just
whoa,
trying
whoa,
to
whoa,
put
whoa.
in that box over there to start, okay? For me, it's a lot easier for me to stay focused when I'm 100% sure that the challenge was correct. I don't know if you go back and watch that challenge again. I'm 99% sure her back was in the net. It wasn't her hair. If you look at the bottom of the screen, you can see her back touch the net. It wasn't just her hair in the top. Because I think that's what we're fighting too, and we all on our side saw that her back was in the net, but it doesn't happen till like the end of the challenge.
Yeah. Sometimes
So
our video replays, like either we're not looking at the right camera angle, or the one that is the challenge, right? Or we do get the challenge camera angle of bolt six or whatever they're looking at to make the decision, and they cut it.
yeah,
I will just
definitely.
like to comment because you also mentioned earlier in your what you learned from playing abroad that you have to be relied upon. And I just want to say that we see that, like we know, like when we watch you play specifically, we're like, she's like the rock on the team. And like your passing is very consistent and you're usually like you're gonna find a shot. So just good job.
We
That
want you
is
to be serving if there's a
Yes.
challenge for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
that is a huge, huge compliment. Thank you very much.
Talking about how reliable you are. We've talked about how your back row looks pretty effortless. I kind of always say that like falling down moves that like look very full of effort sometimes mean that you like made a mistake and you didn't read correctly. And so you just like it feels like you're always in the right spot and you're always making like a very concise move, especially on defense. How did you get so good at reading the block and the other team's offense? Are you studying a lot of film beforehand, or are you really focused on like reacting in the moment? Or I guess both.
I would have to speak to my experience in this specific element of my game. Also in college, we learned a lot about reading the game. I think growing up, my parents own a volleyball club. So I was always around it, like I said, growing up. And I think it's just because I've been around it for so long that I've seen so many situations that it's like, oh, if this situation and this block is here, then it's reasonable that you would stand here and that kind of thing. I think I've become really, really good at reading the game. And then if something goes wrong, you just got to react. And I do the best that I can in those situations.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
Related to defending, I wanted to get your perspective on the two libero situation that the team is running. That's something that we're not seeing a lot of other teams do. I think Vegas has done it a couple times. You could have two liberos dress when we played in college, but we didn't see that like true sharing of the responsibility. So how is that as a serve receiver? I know that there's one libero serve receiving and another who's then not. But how is that as a serve receiver and as a defender from your experience?
I think that those two specific players that we have right now, like Shannon, or was Georgia before, I can actually put them kind of in the same category because they were giving us both similar things. But they both are playing to their strengths right now, which I appreciate so much, and they're so honed in on getting better at their craft and those specific skills. I also think that when we switched and had Nani come in as the defending libero, I think she brings more than just defense because she is a character and she brings so much fire to the game. And I think it's not a bad thing, but our team in general is a very even keeled kind of like,
Yep.
yeah, no, we're not like raw, like crazy
I think
screaming.
I think
We're
Nikki
just
has made
like
that comment
level.
before.
It's
Wow.
yeah,
Yeah.
You
it's
read
something
them.
that we've noticed for sure.
Yeah.
You can definitely see it. Well, I think that we were almost too much like that. And so I think Nani gave us a little bit of a nudge to go a little bit more fiery. And I think that I think right when we switched her, the next game was when we went on our really long win streak. And I think she had a big part in that. So
Yeah, totally.
Nice.
Awesome. Okay, last question about the game, specifically matching up with Indy. I know you are also blocking on the outside, their right sides. And I can't remember if you were matched up with Ajani for one or two rotations, but what is your mindset for blocking or back row digging against Ajani Taylor, who's having quite a season and has a lot of shots at her disposal? So how do you approach that matchup?
first of all, I like to approach it with a lot of respect. I personally have so much respect for that girl. Like, not just she bought me a birthday cake last year. My birthday is May 9th, and I had just got here. I had no friends. Nobody even knew it was my birthday. And then all of a sudden, like, somebody knocked on my door and ran away. And I found out later that she and another girl on our team last year, like, had just dropped off a little birthday cake when they found out it was my birthday. So
Stop.
they're like, I'm one of those people too. Like, I can't look her in the eyes when we're playing because she's like awesome. So I'm like, right now I can't look at you. So first of all, just with respect, because I know that she's a great player and a great person. But in terms of like playing, I think we have to play to just her strength. So we'll try to slow down the best shot that we think that she has, and then we'll try to play around it. And then if she's doing one specific thing to us, then we try to take that away. And then again, just dig around it. She didn't get as many balls last night, I think, as she normally does. But they had other girls who stepped up last night. So
yeah, totally.
Yeah. You had a lot of blocks. It was great.
That's all we had on the match itself. I have a couple of in-season rapid fire questions for you. It doesn't have to be that rapid, but I just have a handful of shorter ones instead of my like novels where I ask 3 questions with an observation. Sorry that you have to.
Okay.
Again, I'm not a journalist. I'm still working through it. For this season, what is your favorite place to play that's not your home gym?
I really, really liked playing in Omaha, but my reason is really stupid.
I love it.
Because the hotel is attached to the gym, so there's no bus rides in between.
Nice.
Oh, hell yeah.
Incredible.
Like down like 2 blocks, we went to like I think it's a Texas of Brazil or someone like a steakhouse. We went there for dinner too, me and my husband before the game. So restaurant and the accommodations, perfect.
Incredible.
Wow, this is the first that we're hearing about the hotel connected to the gym. That is
that's
us too.
Yeah, exactly. But also the fans are incredible in Omaha. When we were walking into that match, they were also just like, we just go 5 sets. We just want to see a lot of volleyball. We just love volleyball. And I was like, you guys are awesome. They were like, the respectful fans versus like the dirty fans. Like they're super respectful, and like I like playing there for sure.
Yeah. Nice.
Amazing.
I feel like in general, PVF fans are all like, we just want to watch volleyball. And it's been very nice.
I agree with that. Yeah, completely.
Awesome. What is your pre-match beverage of choice?
Ooh, I don't drink coffee. I don't drink any caffeine. So water. I literally only drink really water, which is boring, I know. Maybe
no, it's the original hydrator. You can't get any sponsorships out of that. Big Water, maybe they could sponsor you.
Trying to get some like hydration lately. Now, oh wait, before the games, now I have to drink this thing that's not really a drink, but it's called the right stuff. It's like a salt, like
Oh, yep.
straight salt,
Yep.
and that's been really, really great for me. I've been doing it for about 3 or 4 games now, and I've actually like felt the difference. So I drink that, which is terrible but great.
Cool. We'll
All right,
tag them.
Well, yeah,
That
we'll
is
tag
a
them.
thing
We'll
that you
tag
can
them.
tag. We'll tag them.
Yeah, get you your bag.
Okay. So we have an ongoing bit on this podcast about how all the teams are flying on Southwest. There's no like major heat behind that. We just are like, you're probably on Southwest. What seat do you go for in this open seating arrangement that's going to go away?
Yeah, that's gone soon. I would say, well, obviously first exit row if possible, always.
Yeah.
And then it's
Yeah.
not. I'm a window gal because I don't wanna get up if people have to get up, and I like to rest my head on the window and go to sleep. So, yeah.
Love it.
Good answer. Yeah.
Solid answer.
Funny story about that. My husband is from Italy, and he's never had that kind of like seating arrangement before. And he had an earlier thing than me. So he got on the plane and then didn't save me a seat. And I walked by him with like the dirtiest look, and like the people around him were laughing so hard. And I was like, all right, I see how it is. Okay. He was like, I didn't know. Really funny.
I have just yesterday experienced being the one who needed to hold the spot. Like there's so much anxiety around saving the seat.
And what if someone says something to you because sometimes people are like, you're not supposed to save seats.
You're not supposed to save seats. It's like still, but okay, wait. But he should have saved your seat for the record. There's just a lot going on.
Yeah.
I'm still on your side.
He knows that. He was like, never again. I promise. I swear. He was like,
working into the vows.
Yeah.
All right, good stuff. Do you have a hairstyle superstition for matches?
Superstition? No.
Okay.
I have curly hair. It's straight right now, but these little frizzies like to come out, so I just as much as I can, you know.
Yep.
Are you superstitious in general?
No, my husband is. We have some girls on our team that are very superstitious as well.
Same. I'm not either, but yeah, the superstitious crowd in volleyball is a lot.
And it's funny when like we have a girl on our team who usually wears Brittany. She usually wears leggings, but like we had 1 or 2 games where she didn't, and we lost one of them. But she's not superstitious, and she was like, "I'm gonna wear spandex next game just to show you that you shouldn't be superstitious." Like so, like then they get in fights, and I'm just like,
yeah,
I'm just here to watch.
Yeah,
that's very fun.
Yeah,
we have a whole thing about serving routines.
Oh, okay.
Over here, Kelly is anti.
I'm not anti.
For you. You're anti for you.
I just think that like let's just like calm down a little bit.
Kelly wants everyone to be an adult and get your serve in.
Yeah.
Next time I miss my serve, I'm gonna be like, Kelly would tell me just to get it in.
Yeah, just get it in.
You need a routine.
Obviously. No, actually, okay. A comment to this though is that I was playing this weekend and I wasn't playing in a set for a set, but I came in to serve for someone, and I was shaking. I was so nervous because when you sit and then you have to get in, and it's like the end of the game.
Maybe a routine would have grounded you, Kelly.
Well, especially since you've been talking shit to everybody else on the team about their routine.
I was like, I
got my serve in.
Okay.
I had served twice. I got both of them in.
I think it's rooted in
Did I miss the dig? Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
we're not going to talk about that.
We're not talking about
that. No, we're talking about serving.
I think it's rooted in like when you were in middle school, those girls who had like a half an hour long routine.
Yeah.
That's where I feel like I've shortened mine since those days. You know, it's pretty quick.
Well, you only got 8 seconds back there, so.
Oh, right. That's another big important.
We have less now, I feel like, because as soon as you get back there and touch the ball, it's not like you're back there ready to do your routine and they blow the whistle. No, they're like handing you the ball and they're like, let's go.
Yeah.
Because we have I think it's like 15 seconds or whatever.
Oh, yeah, and there's like a clock that you can see, right?
They're trying to push the game along, which I kind of appreciate.
Yeah.
Until, like we talked about, you have those long, like, we have 2 2 to 4 timeouts sometimes a set.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's too much.
Yep.
Yeah.
But if we want to take this game to the next level and you want it to be like monetized, then you're gonna have to like have those commercials where you're showing sponsors and that kind of thing anyway.
Yeah.
For sure. Getting everybody used to it.
Yeah.
Okay. Final question is 3 in 1 because that's what I always do. It's a which teammate is most likely to. I'm gonna give 3 things.
Okay.
Which teammate is most likely to stay up too late before a match the night before?
Lindsay.
Which teammate is most likely to win at bar trivia?
Ooh.
Oh, like knows a little bit about everything? MK.
Amazing. Which teammate is most likely to do a TikTok day in my life?
Oh, Nani.
Amazing. Okay, cool. Well, those are all the questions that we have. Thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you guys for having me. Very nice to meet you guys.
You too. Have a good one.
Bye.
See ya.
Bye.
Thanks again to Courtney Schwan. That was so great to have her on.
Yes.
Had a lot of fun talking about this week's matches. Let's talk about all the other ones. But before that, the transactions page drama.
So much to go over.
Is a lot we need to go through.
Yeah.
We heard about this April 1st deadline. So things have been occurring. And I'm going to tell you about them. So we referenced Katie Baird on Indy Ignite. She initially was playing in Turkey this year, right? She graduated, or her last volleyball season was this past fall. She went over to Turkey, finished that season, and Indy signs her to the practice squad. We talked about that last week, I think. When you originally sign someone, my guess is they signed her on the 25th to the practice squad, and then she was like gonna fly over here. But either way,
like you give a buffer.
A little buffer because maybe you need to make space on the roster. I don't know if they did need to make space because I didn't do my homework, but they signed her to the practice squad initially. What we know about practice squad generally is like if you're going from active to practice squad, anybody can pick you up, and they have 24 hours. Any other team can pick you up. We think that that's a rule to so that somebody who is very talented doesn't get stuck on a team where they're not able to get any playing time on active. In this instance, it seems that the rule still applied, even though it was a new signing from outside of the league.
Mm-hmm.
Because the next day, Amy Pauley claims her from
just
practice
a
squad.
Ruthless move.
Just like she's in that portal,
Yeah.
She's checking stuff out.
Yeah.
She's got Google alerts on.
She's got every single transaction alerting to her phone.
Name of ep.
name of ep. So Orlando claims Katie Baird, and rapidly Indy takes her back. So and reclaims her the next day, puts her on active roster. Okay, fine. I actually do think they needed to make room now that I'm seeing, because Akamore, their middle blocker rookie who hasn't got much time, moved to the practice squad for that. So it must have just been delaying that decision of who they're going to move down, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that was a little bit of drama. We love to see it. Keep it coming. Other things that occurred. Devin Robinson was waived by the San Diego Mojo. She was a rookie, early round draft pick who was injured for a little bit, is an opposite hitter. And the next day, Grand Rapids picked her up. So similar thing of you're on the waiver wire or the practice squad, and other teams have the ability to pick up your contract. Glad to see that she found a spot. I think that she was going to Michigan, maybe was seen over behind the bench, but we haven't seen her really have an opportunity to practice with the team yet or do any of those things. San Diego Mojo also picked up, I think that they're calling her BG, Yasmin Bedart Ghani, who's a 6-year pro, played all over the place: Croatia, Italy, Greece, Turkey, Korea. And so they signed her to the practice squad, later moved her, a day later, moved her to active squad while they moved some stuff around. Celia Cullen is a setter rookie out of SMU most recently. They signed her. San Diego moved some other people around from practice squad and then back up later. Taiba loves to do that. That's all I can really say about that. Things are moving at a rapid pace. The final new player that Mojo grabbed was Tara Caesar. They did sign her earlier, a couple weeks ago, to the practice squad. She got moved to active this past weekend. Those are the Mojo updates. Other things to note. Orlando had a couple other things go on. So Hannah Pukas is now on season-ending injured reserve. Aaron Olson was waived. That was a backup setter rookie. We saw, obviously, Melanie Schaffmaster move to active roster. We saw her in the match this week. And then the big one. We also saw that on March 28th, Adora Anai was waived. Let's speculate.
I don't know.
It's so sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like, I mean, there's not a ton of information out there, but it seems like it was just personal stuff that was going on, right?
That's what we're hearing. That's what the rumor mill is saying. The thing is, she went from having her arc of the season was like she had an incredible first half of the season. She was at the All-Star match. Her performance was like a little on hitting, but like was still passing pretty well, I feel like is what we saw. Then she's on the bench and we hear, I believe it's Paul Sunderland, announcer, was saying she's unavailable, which isn't injured.
Yeah.
And it's not any information really. But it's not injured. And then she doesn't travel with the team most recently. And then this week we saw she was waived. Oh, one more thing that happened a little bit later for the Valks. Kira Thompson is an outside who I think has maybe 2 years of experience, but
Yeah, I think
hilariously.
they fat fingered that a little bit. It says 26.
It says 26 on the website.
That shocked me so much. I was like, I need to Google this. And then, no, she just graduated from Montana State
Yeah. It
2 years
says,
ago. So,
yeah. It says,
Yeah.
I think she
So
was in
it it
Switzerland.
claims that she has been a pro since she was -4
Right.
Yeah.
She was
years
Yeah.
old.
born in,
Yeah.
2000.
Perfect.
Damn, imagine how good she must have been then
Yeah.
I
to
know.
make a team, to make a pro team.
I mean, better than
Like
Courtney.
Courtney Schwan, yeah, Courtney Schwan was playing adult tournaments at 11 or 12,
11.
but not -4.
Yeah, no, for sure. Uh, cool. Well, I think that's all I've got on transaction page.
Lots of exciting things. Nikki, you have been asking for this. So,
Hot stove.
But this isn't a trade. Once
yeah, you're
again,
right. There's not trades happening.
it's not a
There's
fun
not,
little trade.
the
It's
stakes aren't that high.
I mean, it kind of like picking someone off of waivers. That's
I like that.
exciting to me.
You're right.
I'm into
That's
that.
exciting. I
That
think
I
like
like.
how do we feel about so far I feel fine. But how do we feel about these like late season people from abroad joining? I know Kelly, you've been suspecting that this is going to happen.
Yeah.
Obviously, I don't want anybody to get fired so that someone
Yeah.
who is playing in Turkey can come over. But right now, they've been filling spots for injured players. Not really Devin Robinson though, right? That's one where like she was cut in order to make room for these people from abroad, but also they're at the bottom of the standings, so maybe there's like
But
all
then
this
she just got picked
nuance.
up.
But she got picked up, luckily.
Yeah, that's where I think like I think it's a good sign for the league and like for the talent pool that's in the league right now that, you know, aside from like the personal side of things, that the talent pool is good enough that if people are tight on their roster and they have to cut somebody, like teams are picking that person up.
Yeah.
And like that's what you want when you're making those roster rules, is for it to be tight for some of these teams, and that's how you get some player movement. And I think that's working well But yeah, it's nice to at least see people get picked up again instead of just get, canned and have to figure it out for next year.
Hmm.
But yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah. Hopefully, I mean, it's all working like as designed, I think, at this point. For most people, it's like there are players from abroad who can take spots left by injury. And we haven't really seen like pure ringers come in and like change the trajectory of what's going on, which also I think is a sign that like the level is still
Yeah.
pretty good here. And it's not like you can, it's also a team sport. There's not like a
What?
ton one person can do.
Yeah.
A little bit, maybe, but I don't know. I think we're seeing what is like a reality of a league that's in its early days.
Yeah,
So,
it's still finding its level a bit.
yeah. Okay, well, that's it on transactions for now. Maybe next week we'll have some final 11th hour moves to talk about, but that's it
Yeah.
for now.
Yeah.
Sick.
Looks like we got the scorner coming in
All right.
hot.
Yep. I mean, this week we have our sweet interview and we talked about a lot of transactions. So this week we're going to call it a shorter scorner, which is a sort of like half run a little bit. So no stats. We're just going to go right through them. Only 2 days this week, 7 games. It was exciting. Friday, March 28th, one of my sister's birthday. She was shopping for wedding dresses. What? Exciting. All right. It started with San Diego Mojo at Atlanta Vibe on VBTV. Atlanta dropped the first set at home, came back, won the match in four. That first set they lost 26-28, then won 25-20, 25-21, 26-24 in a long fourth set to finish the game and win. After that, Columbus Fury at the Grand Rapids Rise on the Roku channel. Columbus took Grand Rapids the distance, but the Rise closed the door and won in 5 sets. Columbus took the first 25-22, and then Grand Rapids won 25-23, 25-22 in the next 2 sets. Columbus won 25-22 in the fourth, and then it was 15-13 in the fifth. Really close match. Grand Rapids got it done in the end. And then the last match on that Friday, Vegas Thrill at the Omaha Supernovas on YouTube. Omaha survived a close first set, and then after that, they found their groove and they swept the Thrill at home. 25-23 in the first, 25-14 in the second. That was a big one, and then 25-19 to finish it off. After that, Sunday, March 30th. We had a big day, 4 games. The first one, Columbus Fury at the Atlanta Vibe on YouTube. Atlanta was vibing, if you will, from the start of the match, and they ran the Fury out in a sweep 25-18, 25-17, 25-16, consistent. After that, Indy Ignite at Orlando Valkyries, which we may have talked about a little bit earlier in our sweet interview. Back and forth match, it went all the way. Indy won the last 2 sets to take the match in five. They won the first 25-21, and then Orlando won 25-20 and 25-21 in the middle sets. Indy took the fourth 25-21 and then 15-11 in the fifth to finish off the match. After that, Grand Rapids Rise at the Omaha Supernovas on YouTube. Omaha stumbled slightly in the second set, but otherwise business as usual. They won in four in front of the home crowd. They won 25-20, lost the second 17-25, and then 25-19, 25-22 to finish off the match with a win. And then the last match of the week on FS2. San Diego Mojo at the Vegas Thrill. It was a big hitting day for the Mojo, Kendra Dalkey especially, and they beat the Thrill in 4 sets on the road. They went a long first 26-24 and then lost 24-26 in the second, and then 25-17, 25-17 for the last 2 sets to finish the match and put another W in the column. That was the week. The shorter scorner.
Thank you, Ian.
Yeah.
The Shorner.
Yeah.
The
The,
corner.
the shorter.
Corner.
Scorner.
Shorter corner.
Scorner. I think that's great.
All right, so we are the standings as of March 31st.
Week
We
12.
have what?
As of week 12.
As of week 12, we have Omaha in first place, but they have played less matches
Hmm.
than Atlanta, who's in second. They have the same amount of wins. Now, okay, that's fine because they really at the in the end they rank these by the percentages.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
3 games in hand, as they
yeah,
would say.
that's
Is
kind of
that
like
what
a
they would
big
say?
difference.
Yeah,
That's nice.
you got
Hmm.
3 games in hand, and plus those other 3 games Atlanta. Those are all Atlanta losses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Omaha's got 3 games to win an extra one to be ahead of them, but
Oh, I
Yeah.
see.
nice
Right.
place to be in.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's Omaha, Atlanta, Indy, Orlando, Vegas, Grand Rapids, San Diego, and Columbus.
Huh, interesting.
Yeah.
Atlanta definitely has played the most, 22. And
Yeah.
then
Yeah, it's a lot
everybody
of
else is
games.
at like 19, 20.
19,
Yeah.
20, yeah.
Atlanta is really they turn things around.
For sure. I
They're
think
playing
they're
super
on an
well.
8-match win streak
Yeah.
right now. So the streak went from Orlando to Atlanta, and the loss streak, Vegas did break it. Now they're back to their ways.
They're losing
Hmm.
ways.
They're losing ways.
Yeah, I know it's kind of becoming a big difference between the top four and the bottom four.
Yeah.
Starting to see
Um,
it shake out.
yeah.
That said, there's still we're still like not quite 3/4 of the way through, I think.
Yeah, there's still time.
So there is still time. I hope
There's
that
less
my
time.
quick mental math. There's definitely less time.
There's less time than there was last week. I think the it'll be interesting to talk about Columbus and Grand Rapids because Grand Rapids hit 173 but still won to
Hmm.
Columbus hitting 232, which is like a wild difference for the
Uh-huh.
team that has the lower number to still come out on top.
Well, and I'll have to look back, but I think Grand Rapids was on the other side of that against Vegas when Vegas broke their streak.
Yeah, yeah. I
Hmm.
think we talked about something
They
similar.
turned it back around, but
Yeah,
yeah, Columbus is struggling again.
yeah. A new setter is maybe not going to fix everything.
Yeah, I mean, there's still some people. I mean, especially that Grand Rapids game had some good games from some people on the team, but like you said, losing that game while hitting 60 points better, that's
I
got to be disheartening in this situation.
I continue to appreciate Angel like getting everybody off the bench and trying a lot of different things. Morgan Lewis had a pretty good time, but was that in dub sub land, or did she get in consistently?
She did not get
Yeah.
inconsistently.
So like
Yeah,
there's always a dub sub situation one time around. Jill Gill got in toward the end of the match and helped the numbers overall.
yeah.
But like Megan Lush just isn't the same.
No, I mean, and they didn't have an outside.
Right.
And like, I would argue that he probably should have pulled Raina Terry a little sooner,
Hmm.
given her numbers. But
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know what the option is there.
Right. And I would expect Grand Rapids to like really kind of take it to him. So I was
Mm-hmm.
surprised that it went 5.
Mm-hmm.
We saw here Cameron Turner setting
Yeah.
instead of August Raskey, but her um, offense in terms of like her own tips and getting kills, she did great at that.
Yeah. 12 attempts for a setter. I mean, it was a 5 set match, but still is like
Yeah.
a lot.
A lot,
Always we do
yeah.
that. Oh my
I
gosh, that's a
know.
high number. Wait, oh yeah, it was a really long
But
game.
still,
Like,
but
No,
still
yeah.
you're
for
right.
that is still a lot
Those are
though.
kind of August numbers a little bit, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it's like, I guess 2 a set is maybe reasonable.
Yeah.
That
Plus.
one was like, I mean, we talked about it with Shani Taylor when they lost to Omaha and she had a huge game, but I like the valiant game on the losing side award of that week, and I thought that Izzy's game in that loss to Grand Rapids was one. She almost had 60 swings and
Yeah.
she hit like 270, and then you could, I mean, I don't know how much to read into it, you never do, but then the turnaround, she hit negative when they got swept.
Yeah.
It's just like, I don't know. Do you have 110 swings in your shoulder every 3 days? I don't know.
No, I mean, it's tough mentally to be the one who's like keeping everyone afloat and then to
Especially when
lose
you're
it.
also losing it. Yeah, and then
Right, to
to
lose
come
it
back the
close.
next game
Yeah,
and
Hmm.
be
you
like,
you
just
run
do
out
that
of.
again, but more.
Right. Do that a little bit more than you did last
Yeah.
time, for sure. Talk about right sides. People are curious about where Nia Shimei is.
Mm,
So she had such a good beginning of the season.
yeah.
She got injured. She's back. She has gotten in. Um, but she was not, and she was at this match, I believe. She has zeros on the scores. She was present.
Yeah.
I don't think that she was present at the Omaha match
Hmm.
a couple days later, so she maybe didn't travel. And then people are saying that she is not on the team's page anymore,
Well,
the
I
team's
didn't they
roster.
just signed oh, they signed Devin Robinson. They picked her up, right?
Right. And they didn't need to I don't think they needed to move anybody to practice squad to pick her up.
Mm.
Um we don't okay, so just confirmed. Nia Shimei is not on the Grand Rapids roster online, but we haven't seen a transaction that she's been waived.
I will say like most of the things on the PDF website, like the rosters rarely get updated reliably.
Not
So,
always reliable, you're right, but Devin
yeah.
Robinson is on it.
Wh- she's on what team?
Grand Rapids online roster. She got picked
Oh.
up and she's on there.
Oh, okay. So that probably means that things have been updated. Now, okay. Who's not submitting their transactions?
Who's not submitting their
Who's not in
transaction?
compliance?
Get compliant.
Get
Well, I just wonder
compliant.
again, like, is something going on? And then I'm also kind of like, was she on there before? When did she get taken off? I have so many
Right.
questions.
Yeah.
Can someone get into the code of the website for us?
Get into the code.
But that's really a bummer for the Rise if she's gone.
Yeah.
Because, right, when she was gone, Erica Pritchard was in the mix on the right side. I think I read that she was on concussion protocol this weekend.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So then you have to put Kaylee Nelson in. That's not been going great.
Yeah. Yeah. Things are the rise. Yeah. They've fallen a little bit. I think at the beginning of the season things were looking good, and then yeah, it just hasn't been going their way.
No, no, it is not.
No. I mean, it's a very similar thing for Thrill.
Mm-hmm. Is that what
And
we're
the
going to talk
mo
about now?
and yeah, and I think like that's most of those teams at the bottom now. There's a larger gap, but they're still really close. Like the margins are still so small. It's just, you'll see Grand Rapids have a good game and then they have to go play Omaha and
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's just they're not as consistent as those top four teams have been.
Yeah, the environment is not as conducive to like
Success.
you really have to like it's a much bigger turnaround. It's not like you can kind of like inch back to your best performance, which is I feel like what Atlanta did. Atlanta had just
Hmm.
like they strung a couple good ones together and then they had motivation for those big matches
Yeah.
to like
I
keep
mean,
the
it's
momentum going.
yeah, I guess it's got to feel much better to be playing badly and winning half your games instead of playing badly and going on like a 6 match losing streak and,
Yes, precisely.
treading water a little more.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Leah Edmond had a huge game, one of those games. But let's talk about Vegas first.
Must we? No, I'm kidding.
I guess.
It feels bad, you know? It feels not good.
Yeah.
These were, first game was close. You said, Ian, it looked good and then it all fell apart.
Yeah, it was like 25-23. Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Charity
But
Looper
yeah,
is great. Willow Johnson's getting back in there every once in a while and looks pretty good.
they blocked Omaha one time,
Oof.
and Omaha hit 352 on them.
Another team that's throwing a lot at the wall and getting a lot of people in the mix, and just no one has the answer.
And I think,
Yeah.
yeah, and I think they are trying to rely on Hannah Maddox, and then the other team, whoever they're playing, gets her number, and
Yeah.
then where do they go?
Yeah. I mean, Brooke is so good.
Yeah, she really
Yeah, they
is.
crushed. And I mean, we talked about it before, but like then she didn't play that good the next match and they won in four and Reagan Cooper just picked up the slack like,
Yeah.
that's what Vegas doesn't have is they have so many different options um depending on what's going on in the match that they can go to that,
Yeah.
scary.
Yeah, for sure. Was this mostly the same lineup between for Omaha between the game against Vegas and the one against Grand Rapids? Yeah, looks like it. That's kind of interesting. Kelsey Payne's back in the mix.
Yeah, she's been getting a bunch of blocks for him too
Yeah.
last couple games and
I will
hitting
s-
well.
I will say we know that Orlando is going to Omaha this upcoming week. Orlando has handed Omaha. Oh, now I want to double check. I think three of their five losses. Two of
Whoa.
two of their
I
five.
think it's two of their five, yeah, but
Okay.
Wow.
still a
Well, we
lot.
just heard that Courtney loves playing there.
Yeah,
So,
she's gonna get a great night's rest. They all are,
yep. Yep.
and
I
they'll
Well, we've
be
talked
ready.
about it
I'm still
before. Like,
reeling from the fact that the hotel is attached to
you
the. I just like
never have
have
to go
never really
outside.
I've just never heard of that.
But is the sushi in there?
That was really my big
Probably
concern.
probably not.
Also,
I was gonna ask, but
Texas Day Brazil, right? That's like a
Fogo de
it's like a
Chao.
Fogo de Chao
Yeah.
type. Yeah, like that
Like
seems wild to go to before you play a professional
it does.
volleyball
Well, she
match.
said the night before.
But
The
also
night
like,
before, the
okay,
Yeah.
the night
protein
before.
stacking the
Because I was
protein.
gonna say like before the match. Maybe
Yeah.
it's just that like I'm a traditional American, so like I don't leave the Fogo de Chao until like I'm physically ill.
You're gonna throw up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course.
Sure.
Where maybe Courtney Schwan's just like, you know what? I don't need more
She knows how to
fillets
listen to
off
her
this giant
body.
sword. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
Oh,
precisely.
Got to
now
do
I'm
some.
hungry. So
Yeah.
excited.
Yeah, me too. Okay. What else do we want to talk about? I don't want to talk about Omaha being so good. Boring.
Cruising.
Uh,
Cruising.
Well,
I
so
don't
like
know.
that's one thing I guess that I'll ask you guys about like that Vegas Omaha game. That's more general. Like they're close, right? Courtney earlier was talking about the like coach operation that's going on the sideline. How much info do you like getting during a game about what's going on? Like, do you like to feel it, or do you want all the information from your coaches that they can possibly be giving you in the moment?
All of it. Feed me every
Is that a
single,
setter thing?
maybe. Kelly, what do you feel like?
Um,
Do you want the information?
it really depends on the skill. The thing that needs to
Yeah,
that's not working, right? Because
sure,
there's certain like passing that's a very mental thing. If you're getting all this influx of information, it's like, hey, actually you should be like dropping your shoulder sooner, or like it can get a little too overwhelming. I think actually, you know what? Here, I'm gonna amend that. I'm gonna say that if the critique in the information is too specific,
Mm.
keep it out of the gameplay. Like
sure.
we're gonna
Save
need
that for
some we
practice.
need like broader team things like, hey, um, let's shift to the left when we're passing so that we can cover this seam better. That's a good constructive thing that you can change in a match, right?
Sure.
If I am not like, I don't know, doing something weird with my platform, I'm not sure how much I can actually change in a match.
You have to do that later with more
Yeah.
time.
I
Yeah.
agree that like physical execution things are, it's
Yeah.
like not the time to talk about that in a match.
Yeah.
But like there are a lot of things that coaches can tell you about what the other team is doing.
Yeah.
Sure.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Sure.
And I also think there can be too much for some people. Like
Yeah.
so and so on a tight ball is going to do this, and then she's going to do this. And so you need to be ready for that.
Yeah.
Like, there can be too much of that.
Yeah.
I want it all, to be
Yeah.
honest. If it pertains to like, because here's why, as a setter, I think, and like Sydney Hilly continues to be so good at this, is
Hmm.
like you have to, she probably sees it already, but you have to be logging the like flow of what's happening.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And so
Definitely.
I do think that as a setter, like any observation that you have about how it's going
Yeah.
is going to be important
Yeah.
to,
Even if it's conflicting information, right?
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
then that's actually interesting to me.
Yeah.
Conflicting information is still kind of interesting because it's like you're observing one thing, you're observing another. Maybe that's not something that I'm going to try to exploit in terms of
Yeah.
one of their weaknesses.
Yeah. There are certain things like if I'm just getting blocked no matter what I do and I can't do anything, like people coming up to me and saying to try different things, it's like I've tried everything.
Yeah.
At this point it's in God's hands. Like I like
Like go and
it,
let God.
yeah, it's like you know, let's maybe not set me anymore or something, you know.
Just take a break. Just take a little
Yeah.
break.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Because then that can get a little frustrating.
Hmm.
But people
Mhm.
want to help and all that stuff.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I don't know how Vegas can. I don't know what I don't know what any Vegas or Columbus, frankly. I'm like, it seems like y'all are trying everything.
Yeah, and Vegas didn't have any major. Oh, they moved some middles around.
Hmm. Against
It may,
Omaha.
yeah. Well, I'm just saying the transactions.
In
Oh,
general.
So like,
yeah. No one's. They're not firing anybody to get new faces,
yeah. So
but they move some middles around from practice to active.
yeah,
I don't know. It's a real. I can imagine it's so frustrating for them because like the difference.
yeah,
It's frustrating for different reasons, I guess. But the journeys that each of these teams have been on that are in the bottom four have all been very, very different journeys. Columbus has been pretty bad consistently. Grand Rapids started a little slow, had a kick, and now is kind of back to being very off and on. But Vegas is definitely the saddest in terms of like
yeah,
what a strong start.
yeah,
And not that much has changed in your personnel. Like
yeah,
it's not like we can point to a key injury that we
yeah.
know about. Instead, it's really just been like it's not it's not jiving anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And I think
Yeah, and
that
the other
that
teams
is a
just continued to get better around them too.
right. And is that like the rookie thing biting them in the ass? I think a little.
Yeah. I mean, it's like if you keep, you gotta change something.
Yeah, and I just don't think they have quite as many tools in their toolbox as someone like Courtney does.
Yeah.
So you run out of options. It's why Brittany
Well,
Abercrombie
yeah,
can still be successful now.
yeah. You run out of options, especially when the other team has like two of the, it's Courtney and Brittany Abercrombie
Right.
and Reagan Cooper and Brooke Nonneville. Like,
Uh-huh.
there's some of these teams are stacked. Like, there's
Yeah.
a
A lot of
bunch of really
options.
good, really consistent players on
Mm-hmm.
these teams now.
Yep, totally. Yeah, we're not seeing it.
But that's like it. You were talking about the character of those teams in the bottom four. Like speaking of San Diego, they
Mhm.
lost one and won one this week, and that has kind of felt like how they've been all season. Like they haven't had like a crazy losing streak. It doesn't feel like, but it's like one win and two losses. And
Yeah, that hasn't even really been, I mean, how long have we been without Day Young? Just this weekend?
yeah,
A little bit longer?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and like it I thought that was going to go a lot worse for them losing
Mm-hmm.
her. I thought that was going to be a big problem.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's interesting to like sign a new setter who you maybe want in the mix. Obviously, Sponsel's playing for now. And then
she
sign
had a
some
good
like
game
big
against Vegas.
hitters.
Yeah,
Yeah. But sign some big hitters. It's like you're kind of trying to see if you can get half a new team and if that will fix things.
Hmm.
But so many of these, I mean, Maya Taborn's been having some pretty solid matches, right?
Hmm.
Hmm.
But doesn't seem like consistency still sort of has seemed like a problem for her this year.
Yeah, or like both of or both her and Kendra Dalkey having a good game in the same or a good match in the same match has been, it's tough.
Yeah,
It's usually because obviously one of them I'm sure is getting more attention than the other, but from the defense. But like
right.
in their loss to Atlanta, Maya had a good game. She got 50 tries, she had over 200, but Kendra Dalkey really struggled in that one, and then in the game where Kendra Dalkey played well, they won. So
Yeah. You need two. You need two hitters putting stuff together.
You definitely do. And and the middles are a bonus.
And the middles are a bonus lately.
indeed.
I mean, Indy's middles had a showing this weekend. Usually, I'm glad we at least have one team each week that I feel like I can point to. Middles having a really good time. But in
Indy's
the,
just having a good time in general.
I know, but in the instance
you
of
know? Yeah.
that Atlanta San Diego game, right? Was Reagan Pittman playing middle? Or she started the season playing oppo and now she's playing middle, right?
Should put in the practice squad at some point.
I know. Just last week they put her on the practice squad. What a
Yeah.
crazy thing. Like
Uh,
what San Diego partially I think is having a hard time because they've got whiplash.
yeah. But no, she's playing middle.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
She came in halfway through in the Atlanta game and put up some numbers. And Ronica Stone played great against Atlanta. Those were close sets though, all of those.
Hmm.
I just want to once again shout out, I'm talking about Atlanta now. I want to once again shout out Aiko Jones. She's playing great. And also, remember last week how I was like, the NCAA heads need to like settle down?
Yeah.
The Merritt Beeson stands are acting a fool in the YouTube
Mm.
chat. They're
That's
like,
upsetting.
they're like, the coach is being mean to Merritt.
Mean.
Mean.
I think she's being mean to herself by not playing better.
Damn.
Anyway, I just want to give Aiko the credit where it's due.
I think that's fair. She's been playing well. And of course, like you got to play the person that's playing well.
It's the hot hand.
Mhm.
You
The hot
find the hot
hand.
hand, and it can ebb and flow throughout the season. But it,
I mean, that's what we're talking. It's a good place to be in. Like there are other teams that don't have that luxury, and then they lose games when
mhm.
they have people play poorly and they don't have anyone to come in for them.
And it's really been flowing for Leah Edmond lately. She
Man,
had
that first game of the week,
381.
she was crazy. Yeah, it was kind of a one game, the other game story for
Oh,
Leah Edmond.
shoot. Okay, but what I'll say about the second game against Columbus is that hitting 217 is still good.
Yeah,
Yeah. And her
yeah,
passing was really good.
Passing was great,
sets a high bar,
Yeah.
So
She's so good.
for sure. For real.
for real.
For real.
I know we've been like a little bit like blah, 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 blah in the
Ooh,
last 5 minutes, but I really don't have that much else to say. I'm tired from the interview.
me too.
I'm so drained.
What else do you feel like you want to say, Ian? What's important to you?
Again, we already talked about the Indy Orlando game from one perspective.
Sure.
Um, we had two Orlando employees on the podcast.
Me?
She's
Listen,
a plant.
listen.
See,
But
she's not a
I
journalist.
do kind of want to talk about Indy because they're doing really well.
and that this is another game where
Yeah.
like Courtney was talking about with they played Johnny Taylor really well
Yeah.
They
and
did.
Indy
Yeah.
still won. And you're just like if you
I mean,
hold
she
out
still
hope
had
that
14
like
kills.
yeah,
Like,
it's
Right, but
still
you're
a
right.
huge
She hit only
game.
hit 139.
But
yeah.
yeah, with the way that she's been hitting, like they still obviously are going to go to her a lot, but to win
Yeah.
those games, again, it's just like the first time Lekator went down. It's just like this team. They
Yeah.
could be screwed. And it's been really, they continue to be impressive that way. They
They
find new
get better
people
and
all the
better.
time.
This
Yeah.
Yeah.
is like
It
the rookie or like the 2 year pro squad that like is continuing to really improve.
yeah.
Lydia Martin hit 435.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And in like the fourth, fifth set, she really, I think, kind of came alive. We should look at the stats to double check, but I was very struck by like, oh, Orlando doesn't have an answer for their middles now.
Yeah.
Yeah, the fourth set, she had 6 kills on 9 attempts.
Um It'll be interesting if like Caitlin Baird, Katie, does she go by Katie? Katie
Katie,
Baird,
I think, yeah.
like her success in this match, like especially hearing from Courtney that like they didn't totally, over scout her because like she's new and which I think is completely valid. Like it's also only one player. You don't even know if she's gonna play.
Right.
It
She's
fine.
a rookie.
But, how much of her success from this is because she was an unknown?
Yeah.
Or is it just because, yeah, she's a baller.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
And that, yeah,
TBD.
you still
Yeah,
have
we'll
Carly
see.
Scott and Taylor taking so much attention.
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
It
still like
seems like a good
40,
place to come in.
40 attempts. Like, obviously 5 cents,
Yeah.
I guess it's a
No,
lot.
no, no.
But like,
She
if
didn't
you
come
look at the
until the third.
distribution, like compared, like she got more attempts than Ajani Taylor did.
Hmm.
And she didn't come in until the third
Yeah.
Yeah.
for Anna DeBeer, who, by
Well,
the
she
way,
played like
Yeah, she subbed early,
they call her
but
yeah,
just a
Debo.
little.
Debo.
Isn't that funny? That sounds like
D
hockey to me.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
whether you put an O or a Y at the end of everybody's. They're like, wait, because you know how I found out in the chat. Where's Debo? Where's Debo? Where? I love Louisville. Where?
Yeah.
I thought Kelly was
But
gonna like that one.
well,
My
you
bad.
pronounce. I mean, you're out here pronouncing it Louisville.
Wow.
Louisville. It's
Yeah.
Louisville. I know it's Louisville. I played volleyball
Louisville.
tournaments there every year for like 5 years.
Louisville.
Huh.
Louisville. Okay.
Louisville.
Just
Anyways,
anyways, good job, Katie Baird, and your debut.
yeah, big debut. Her
Yeah.
first serve was an ace.
Yeah, that was fun.
That's gotta feel good.
Yeah.
Escada. Oh, real quick. MK White made it into this game
Yeah.
and had 3 blocks like right away.
Yeah.
There was no way that Mel Shaftmaster was going to be able to set her at all. There was just no
Yeah.
way. There
Yeah.
was
I
no way it was
mean,
going to happen.
yeah. Or any of the middles, right? I
Uh,
mean,
she got it to Kaz a little bit here and there, but like it
yeah.
just that was a mess at the end.
Yeah.
Courtney's right. They were playing with so many new people.
Yeah.
And there was stuff that dropped and bad communication. And I really hope that they'll have it figured out in time for Omaha.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
I hope.
Yeah.
Okay. Can I do the matches for next week?
Yeah.
Uh,
Hit us with it.
What do we got?
it's gonna be a really quick week. Are you guys
Hmm.
ready to go in depth on every single match next week?
Yes.
Yeah, let's do it.
Because I'm pretty sure, unless I'm mistaken, that there are only 3 matches on
What?
Saturday,
Yeah.
all at the same time because they hate us and they hate
Yeah.
this little
I'll have
job
to
that we
go
don't get
into
paid for.
like my version of Wolf Blitzer's situation room.
Okay,
We
great.
got all the screens.
I mean, honestly, maybe I'll come join you. What am I doing? On
Okay.
Saturday at 7 o'clock Eastern, we have Orlando at Omaha. We have Vegas at Grand Rapids, and we have Indy at Columbus. All different stations. First one's on VBTV, then CBS Sports Network, then YouTube. So we can do it.
Hmm.
We can make it happen. And that's it. I mean, is it it? The next game is on
Whoa.
Tuesday, April 8th. What week are we calling that? I think that's the following week, no?
According to our podcast, when we
Yeah, for
record
us.
usually on Monday or Tuesday.
Right.
Yeah.
This is
But they put
we're
they
in
put
the
player
kind
of the
of
week out on Mondays, don't they?
yeah.
Or Tuesday? They put
You
them on
I don't know.
Tuesdays.
Sometimes they wait a
They go
little bit.
early.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. We might not talk about that game. It's Atlanta at San Diego. It's a late one.
Yeah.
When will we have the time? It doesn't fit into our podcast recording schedule.
We'll
Yeah.
just talk about it
Guys,
the next week. Yeah.
And I can't believe they didn't ask us about it.
They really should have cleared it with us.
Yeah.
Well, I just think that we use like a kind of Reformation court captain's podcast calendar, and they use the PVF Orthodox calendar, and it's
Yeah.
just like slightly not the same,
And we
you
pray to
know?
Yeah.
different gods, so
It's just the way it is. Yeah.
that's just
I'm a
how it
Bolt 6
goes.
worshiper.
Yeah. Of
Correct.
course.
You know, that's
Our
just
Definitely.
kind of
sentient
like a,
leader.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's just part of the general like pantheon of PVF lords.
Yeah.
Correct. Thanks for listening to Court Captains, a volleyball podcast. Please give us 5 stars on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and like and subscribe on YouTube if you like what you're hearing. Support small podcasts. And if you don't like what you're hearing, then please just go ahead and mind your business. Follow us on Instagram at Court Captains Pod and email us your questions or comments at courtcaptainspod@gmail.com.
And now I'm realizing that we didn't ask Courtney to say, and don't forget to be the captain of your own court.
It never occurred to
Me
me.
either. And we could have cut it in right here. But all right, everyone, don't forget to be the captain of your own court. And don't forget to ask the people you're interviewing to say your catchphrase.
Okay, cool. Have a good week.
Goodbye.
Bye. Whoa, cut that out.
Whoa.
I will.
We're gonna get killed.